Now on KGW Plus, millions of dollars in funding that was cut by the Trump administration in June is restored to the Beaverton School District. Now the teachers union says its members are breathing a sigh of relief.
Our students are going to succeed academically when they receive the funds that they are promised.
Also coming up this hour, President Trump caught on a hot mic telling the president of France that he thinks Russian President Vladimir Putin wants to make a deal in the war against Ukraine.
I think he wants to make a deal for me. You understand that, as crazy as it sounds?
Yeah, there it is. Again, caught on the mic. The president continues to push for a face-to-face meeting between Putin and Zelensky and floats the possibility of U.S. troops helping to keep the peace. Then later this hour.
There's going to be wall-to-wall. It's going to be nonstop. Every one of these parking lots will fill up.
The state of Washington set to welcome its first In-N-Out in just over 24 hours, but the burger and fries comes with a side of possible traffic concerns. The controversy and craze ahead on KGW News at sunrise. Good morning, and thank you for joining us live at 8 o'clock. I'm China Green.
And I'm Drew Carney. Let's bring Chris and Rod into the mix. Chris, we're not going to have you talk about that In-N-Out traffic situation just yet, but we are going to have Rod Hill talk about our Tuesday forecast.
Oh, it's so boring. Come on.
I know. But people like the weather, Rod, and they like
Actually, a boring weather day this time of the year is a good weather day, and that's what I have. Let me take you through it. Snookwiz Casino Resort in Lincoln City. Some mid to high level cloudiness, but it's been brightening up over the past hour or so. 55 degrees the number. You'll be dry today, kind of partly sunny, temps in the 60s. Portland probably just ends up being mostly sunny. Certainly we are sunny right now. 63 is the number out the door. 73 at noon. There's a cloud band near shore that might just bring some noticeable cloudiness in later today. If so, partly cloudy, and about 81 for a high. We have a heat wave we now expect that could be as hot as the last one that starts Friday. Remember the last one, we did have some 100-degree temperatures in the valley, including you folks in Salem. For now, here's Chris.
Rod, thanks for that. We take you back up to the mountain. Highway 26, it looks like eastbound lanes have reopened near Government Camp, the scene of an earlier vehicle fire. No word on any injuries or anything like that, but from a traffic impact, the road is moving again. 26 down low where the rest of us are. Your eastbound commute slow and steady coming in from Cedar Hills Boulevard. Pretty normal for this hour of a Tuesday morning drive. The I-5 commute from Clark County also a little slow this morning. I wanted to bring up the drive time. Can we do that? Come on, going once, going twice. All right, we'll get you the drive time in just a few minutes. 32 minutes right now to get you in from Main Street, guys.
All right, thank you, Chris. Top story here at 8 o'clock. Tens of millions of dollars have been restored to Oregon schools as they get set to start welcoming kids back next week. That funding was initially frozen by the Trump administration back in June.
A month later, the Department of Education reversed course and released that money. Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz joins us live from Beaverton School District headquarters. So Thomas, what have educators said about this?
Well, guys, educators say that it's been a stressful summer. After that funding was initially frozen back in June, it left administrators and teachers scrambling to determine how they could make up for the shortfall. Once it was restored, of course, it was a big relief for everybody in local school systems. Beaverton Teachers Union President Katie Lucan says $7 million was at stake for the Beaverton School District, and that money is key. It supports after-school summer programs and English language instruction. And Lucan says the cuts would have cost Beaverton more than a dozen jobs.
These are funds that support all students, that these are programs that benefit all students, and that our students are going to succeed academically when they receive the funds that they are promised.
I firmly believe that all of us
In July, Oregon Attorney General Dan Rayfield and 22 other state attorneys general sued to block the money freeze. Once the funds were released, Rayfield released a statement saying, in part, these funds keep critical programs running, from English language learning to school mental health services to summer learning programs. Now, Oregon schools have received more than $73 million in that funding that was initially frozen. $20 million goes toward migrant education. Another $20 million goes to targeted student achievement. Drew, China.
All right, Thomas Schultz live for us all morning out there in Beaverton. Meanwhile, federal funding also the focus of this next story. Senator Ron Wyden visited Crater Lake this past weekend to see how funding cuts have impacted Oregon's only national park. The Trump administration eliminated thousands of Park Service jobs across the country earlier this year. Senator Wyden says he's working on strategies to support the park's current staff and also to keep that visitor experience a strong one.
We're not just going to sit idly by while there is this jewel heist, because what I believe it's doing is weakening the commitment, the national commitment to Crater Lake and to all of our national parks.
Crater Lake has an interim superintendent after former superintendent Kevin Heatley resigned just 5 months into the job. So the search for a permanent replacement continues while the park says it's dealing with staff shortages.
We're going to end mail-in voting. It's a fraud. We're going to start with an executive order that's being written right now by the best lawyers in the country to end mail-in ballots.
As you just heard there, President Donald Trump says his administration is looking to eliminate vote by mail. Vote by mail is the way that most people in Oregon and Washington vote, with local leaders saying it's extremely secure and local voters know about the safeguards. But at a news conference yesterday, President Trump said vote by mail is fraudulent and provides slower results compared to paper ballots. Oregon Secretary of State Tobias Reed says all those statements are false and that states have jurisdiction over elections and not the federal government.
President Trump is pretty clearly actively working to corrupt our elections. If he actually understood or cared about American people, he would know that mail-in voting is the best way to protect everyone's right to vote.
President Trump also said vote by mail is more expensive. Secretary of State Reed says voting by mail in Oregon is less expensive than votes that require people to show up at a specific time and place.
Oregon is also joining 19 other states in another lawsuit against the Trump administration. Oregon's Attorney General says that this suit takes aim at the administration's attempts to block federal funding that's meant for crime victims and survivors. The Trump administration has threatened to withhold roughly $15 million in grants for organizations in Oregon as a form of punishment for the state's sanctuary status. Attorney General Dan Rayfield is asking the Oregon legislature for about $3 million to help fill the gap while this lawsuit plays out.
The state of Washington is under a deadline to end its sanctuary policies. The Department of Justice sent letters to the governor and mayor of Seattle, giving them until today to respond. The letters warn state and city policies may be obstructing federal law. The DOJ is threatening investigations, civil or criminal actions, and the loss of federal funding. Seattle's mayor says that those threats won't change how the city protects its immigrant communities.
Refugees see this as a threat, and so I look at it as a threat to my community here, all of our communities, and so that's what a mayor does. The mayor strategizes, make sure that he or she could use the court system to their benefit, and they make sure they protect their community. That's what we're going to do.
Today, Seattle's mayor is expected to join Governor Bob Ferguson and other state leaders for a press conference about it in Olympia. Meantime, the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife is warning people to avoid harvesting or eating soft shell and bay clams from the Alsea Bay estuary. The advisory comes after officials say Lincoln County's Ekman Lake tested high for a type of toxin that causes paralytic shellfish poisoning. That lake drains directly into the bay. Agriculture officials will now test clams from the estuary with results expected sometime next week.
All right, Rod Hill, we bring you back into the mix here. As you said earlier, beautiful day on tap.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, and realize for your planning purposes, we got comfortable weather today and tomorrow. Thursday is the first day it gets kind of uncomfortably hot, and then we're right back into a heat wave. So if there's some things you've been putting off, take advantage of today and tomorrow. I'll share the heat wave numbers in just a second. The only thing I'm watching as a forecaster is this band of clouds offshore. It's going to be, I think, mid to high level broken thin cloudiness as it eventually pushes inland somewhat. We'll see more noticeable cloudiness this afternoon from near to north of Portland, less so from Portland down to the south. And right now we're mainly clear. It was a really pleasant early morning. I want to show you what the lows have been. These may be adjusted downward by a degree when the official report gets put into the book. But for now, McMinnville, you were down to 50 degrees this morning. PDX stopped at 61. It was kind of an outlier with a warmer number out along the Columbia. Hillsboro was 52. Salem got down to 54. It was 50 in Tillamook. It was 50 degrees out in Hood River this morning as well. The Reserve Golf Club camera is not showing up right now. Here's a look at our temperature map. We do have mainly clear skies. These are current temperatures, 64 now in Gresham. Winds are light. Flag's not moving much anywhere that I've seen. 58 in Dallas and 60 degrees in Salem. Other temperatures mainly 50s and 60s statewide, as you can see. Again, zero-related issues. Generally, you're going to find sun today, with the exception of a mix of partly sunny skies at the coast. 5 o'clock this afternoon, I think Portland will hit 80. Be the first time in several days we get out of the 70s. Low 80s in Salem and Albany, mid 80s in Central Oregon, and then generally, we think easily staying in the 80s out east and not making it to 90 either. So you'll be comfortable today. Portland goes 81, 83 for 2 comfortable days. Thursday, 88. And then our next heat wave in red for our KGW weather impact alert. Nearing 100. When I say nearing 100, in my mind, I'm thinking we could hit it. Friday and Saturday. Sunday still well into the 90s. We may or may not break out of the 90s and cool off a bit on Monday. That's your forecast. Here's Chris.
Rod, thank you for that. We pick it up with a traffic alert on the south side of town, I-5 southbound. I'll zoom in real quick. You can see ODOT incident responders here with a crashed or a disabled vehicle right now. It's got the southbound left lane and maybe part of the center lane, or at least the southbound left lane blocked near McAdam, and that is really starting to stack up the southbound commute. We'll zoom in there. You can see traffic coming out of downtown almost at a standstill right now. We'll go back over the Markham Bridge towards Morrison. So this is quickly tying up that southbound I-5 commute, which of course will eventually spill over to the Banfield. Right now, 84 westbound's 26 minutes to get you in from Troutdale, but expect that to pick up for sure. The I-5 drive still slow and steady over the interstate bridge. The end of the line is moving farther south, but right now it's still a 25-minute commute to get you in from Main Street to the Fremont Bridge. Guys?
Thank you, Chris.
I think it's great. I think the community wants it, but I think traffic here is going to be crazy.
The state of Washington's first In-N-Out opens tomorrow. So who's excited about the burgers? Who's excited about the fries? Who's concerned about the parking and that crazy drive-through line? We're going to have more on that after the break. Also ahead.
President Trump is raising hopes for a potential meeting between Russian President Putin and Ukrainian President Zelensky after hosting both leaders in separate meetings over the past several days. I'm Alice Barr in Washington with the latest details coming up.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
In other news, the state of Washington's first In-N-Out will open its doors tomorrow morning.
Jolene Stevens went to Ridgefield to see how people are feeling about the fast food giant and the traffic trouble it could cause.
I love In-N-Out, and we don't have one super near, so I'm very excited.
I will go every day if I could.
I think it's great. I think the community wants it, but I think traffic here is going to be crazy.
In-N-Out opening its doors for the first time in Washington State at 10:30 Wednesday morning.
If I knew that it was going to be this close and opening, I'd be wearing an In-N-Out shirt today.
Well, I'm sure that In-N-Out definitely has now put Ridgefield on the map for Washington, so more people will know that Ridgefield's here.
But with more attention comes worries about more traffic.
There's going to be wall to wall. It's going to be nonstop. Every one of these parking lots will fill up.
But I enjoy like sneaking into this Costco and out, and I don't think that's going to happen anymore.
Though there is a plan. Ridgefield police say their officers, along with Washington State Patrol, will be on site opening day and the days after to watch traffic. If it backs up to Discovery Drive, people will be rerouted.
I think it's something that needs to happen because it can get out of control. Like I remember when the Kaiser one opened and it was backed up onto the freeway, and yeah, so I think police present will be a good thing.
In-N-Out also having additional space for the line opening week.
In-N-Out has arranged for a lot that has enough room for 2.5 miles of cars on it. So they are definitely doing their best to make it to be the best possible situation.
Now all that's left is to get in line and wait.
But what's your favorite thing about In-N-Out?
The burgers. Any burger. Literally anything.
Thrilled to death. They got to go further north.
Ridgefield police say that camping is not allowed, so trying to save your place in line the night before is not a good idea. Also, with nearby construction going on, they're just asking people to practice patience. In Ridgefield, Celine Stevens, KGW News.
We are kind of curious, right, to see how the heck this plays out.
So the Costco went in, it's been some time ago now, but a big deal. They've got two new kind of, what do they call them, turnabouts.
Circles. Yep.
One has been open to get traffic into Costco. There's another one, Chris was saying he didn't think they had that totally constructed yet. That was going to be kind of a back end way into Costco. But already that one turnaround just with Costco catches your eye of how busy it is.
And the gentleman from In-N-Out in that story talks about a lot that's been set aside to handle 2.5 miles worth of a traffic line. I don't know. I mean, obviously that's not 2.5 miles long, but it's, I guess, they'll wind enough cars to it'll fill up. Where's this lot at?
As the cool kids say, the math ain't mathin'.
Oh yeah.
I think they say that.
Yeah, they.
Oh yeah, Drew and I have said that before. You're right, Shanna.
But look at the forecaster forecasting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm casting today.
Okay. That's not how that works.
Now I got to wipe the smile off my face and show you these numbers. All right. It is August, and we do have another heat wave coming. We introduced 94s on the 7-day forecast yesterday. I've turned those 94s on my 7-day into a 98 Friday and a 98 Saturday. The record Friday is 98. That's definitely in jeopardy. The record Saturday is 101, and I'm sad to tell you, I think that's in jeopardy. There might be more of an east wind flow this time than our last heat wave had. And if that's the case, we could easily go over 100 Friday and Saturday. I've got 94 on Sunday, and that may be closer to the record of 99 back in 1982. And some of the modeling extends at least 90-degree temperatures into Monday into Tuesday. So all we really are building in confidence-wise at this point on this Tuesday is that it's going to be hot, and there's every single reason to believe it's going to be just as hot as that last 3-day run that went 101, 102 in Salem and went 99, 99, 99 in Portland. Again, this is Friday, Saturday, and into Sunday. So start thinking about your weekend, what you're going to be doing, what you might not want to be doing. Hood to Coast is Friday, starting up at Timberline in the morning, and of course ending Saturday into Seaside. That's a big concern all of a sudden for runners to stay hydrated. All right, a week low, it's up to our north. We've got a band of cloudiness kind of toying with us. Futurecast shows that these clouds thicken up somewhat during the day, especially down around Astoria, but otherwise kind of leave us alone. I'll show you that in a moment. Here's Chinook Winds Casino Resort in Lincoln City, which was overcast, and now it's looking to be just kind of partly sunny with a thin veil of cloudiness up top. So that's a nice morning at the beach. No wind. 55 degrees is the number. Your highs will be in the 60s. Here's perfectly blue over the summit of Mount Hood from our Timberline camera, where it's 47. There's the top of Providence Park and the sun hitting the West Hills. 61 degrees is the temperature there. With clear skies inland, we have zero weather-related issues, and with partly sunny skies at the coast, that's really nice this morning as well. 64 out in the Dalles. Last report had you folks in the gorge seeing light winds this morning. Here's that Futurecast model. Just maybe some thick clouds later today up around Astoria and toying with Kelso Longview. Otherwise, kind of mostly sunny to at most partly sunny as you head up north. All right, the coast day. This now shows Pacific City. You could get up to 70 degrees. Valley temperatures cracking 80. This shows Salem at 83. Winds today will be northwest, generally light, 5 to 15. 80 expected up in Longview. PDX goes 81 today, 83 Wednesday, and then the heat gets turned up. 88 Thursday, the impact alert for the all-out heat wave hitting. Friday 98, Saturday 98, or hotter. Sunday 94. Monday, I'm not sure if we cool into the 90s, but some of them cool out of the 90s, but some of the models say we do. We'll keep you updated on that. Here's Chris.
All right, let's get you back out the door with a traffic alert. This is having a ripple effect across the system. We're talking about I-5 southbound right now. ODOT with this crash south of the Markham Bridge. And right now the left lane is still blocked. It's been blocked for about 30 minutes now. And I can show you the impact that is having now. Lining up the I-5 South Drive on the south side of town. We'll take you across the Markham Bridge back up to the Morrison Bridge. Again, we're backed up there. And we're hearing that there's a possible crash in the backup on Interstate 84 westbound as well. So now we're solidly lined up out past Providence Medical Center. Right now you're tripping from Troutdale up to 32 minutes and building a solid 25 of this. It's just inside of I-205. We'll be right back.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
Welcome back to Sunrise. Several top European leaders joined Ukraine's president at the White House yesterday, calling on President Trump to push Russia to end its war with Ukraine.
They're also hoping to secure a commitment from the U.S. to help protect Ukraine from future attacks. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from Washington, D.C.
President Trump raising hopes for a long-sought meeting between Presidents Putin and Zelensky, saying he called the Russian leader and has begun making arrangements.
After that meeting, if everything works out, okay, I'll meet and we'll wrap it up.
That after a warm meeting between President Trump and Ukrainian President Zelensky.
It's an honor to have the president of Ukraine with us.
Thank you very much for your efforts. Personal efforts to stop killings and stop this war.
And a striking gathering of European powers flexing their collective muscle in Ukraine's defense.
We want a robust and long-standing peace.
President Trump caught on a hot mic telling the French president he thinks Putin wants to make a deal for him.
I think he wants to make a deal for me. You understand that, as crazy as it sounds?
President Zelensky sharing a battlefield map, pressing to ensure any peace deal protects Ukraine's territory and includes guarantees against future Russian attacks.
What security guarantees do you need from President Trump to be able to make a deal? Is it American troops, intelligence, equipment? What is it?
Everything.
President Trump saying Putin agreed to allow security guarantees. The president not ruling out that U.S. troops could join Europeans in a peacekeeping force.
When it comes to security, there's going to be a lot of help.
European allies praising the push for peace while pressing for an immediate ceasefire, something President Trump has backed off of after his Alaska summit with Putin, now arguing negotiations toward a broad peace deal can continue while the fighting rages on. President Zelensky also shared his gratitude to First Lady Melania Trump for writing a letter to Putin about the Ukrainian children abducted throughout this war, some 20,000, according to Zelensky, who wants them all returned in any peace deal. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Here's a look at some other national headlines with your Morning Rush. Starting Friday, the Department of Justice says it will begin providing Congress with documents related to the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. This comes after the House Oversight Committee issued a subpoena demanding the release of documents related to Epstein and his longtime associate, Ghislaine Maxwell. Newsmax has agreed to pay $67 million to settle a defamation lawsuit with Dominion Voting Systems for its false claims about the 2020 election. There's still no indication, though, that Newsmax will issue an apology for making those claims. And the Japanese conglomerate SoftBank is investing $2 billion in Intel. According to CNBC, the U.S. government is also considering taking an equity stake in the company after Intel CEO Lip-Bu Tan met with President Trump last week. And that's a look at your Morning Rush.
And my first thought was, I want to work there.
Portland Fire welcomes a new fire chief. Coming up in our next half hour, what her first priority is in the new role. Plus,
but let's be real.
Basically, it's like a Dukes of Hazzard launch, right?
It was, yes. There were a lot of people reporting that they caught air.
A major bump in the road on Highway 26 finally on its way to being repaired. How long ODOT says it will take before the drive to the coast is smooth sailing.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
Good morning, I'm Drew Carney. The off-duty Alaska Airlines pilot, accused of trying to cut a plane's engines off mid-flight nearly 2 years ago, has agreed to a plea deal. Joseph Emerson is facing federal charges. Court records, that is, indicate that he'll appear in court here in Portland for a change of plea hearing in 2 weeks. Emerson's alleged actions forced a flight heading to San Francisco to make an emergency landing in Portland. His lawyers say he was taking psychedelic mushrooms at the time. All right, Rod Hill, what do you have for us in the weather center?
We have a beautiful day, and although areas that have been in the 70s recently in the valley will probably at least get to 80 today, we're still going to be really comfortable. Here's the sunny blue skies over the state capitol mall down in Salem, 60 degrees. Sunny blue skies over Portland and 63. We'll be 73 at noon. I have us just getting up to 81, as you know, still considered really nice for August. But here's the issue coming up. Growing confidence that starting Friday we'll be right back into another heat wave with temperatures nearing 100 Friday and Saturday and still in the 90s on Sunday. That's the reason for the red and the KGW weather impact alert.
So at a nice French restaurant, you expect a long, robust selection of wines. La Popote, a Michelin guide-listed eatery in northern England, has just that. But they also have an entire menu of bottled water. So starting Friday, diners will get to choose from 3 different bottles of still water and 4 sparkling. Prices range from $6 to $26 per bottle.
Oh, good.
The restaurant is one of the first in the world to offer such a menu to its customers.
Can I get you guys some water? No, not yet, sir. I'm sorry. I'm still looking at the menu. I'm still looking the menu over. I'm not ready to order that water just yet.
That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, who were the people that first said no? We can charge people $5-6 for a latte. They'll go for it. And they were right. And then the person that said, God, we can probably charge money for water. For water!
And they say the grapes and the wine is all in the soil, so you know the water does have to filter through that. So just give a slight nod to that. But
all right, Chris is in.
Maybe. I'm not saying I can afford it. I'm just saying I would.
Yeah, I don't know. Late 80s, early 90s, I remember when they stuck bottled water on the shelves at the grocery store. I thought, who the heck's going to buy bottled water? I've got it at home already. It happened.
And that's why we're working Monday through Friday, my friend. Here's a look at our Snookwiz Casino Resort camera from Lincoln City. It's kind of partly sunny. May look like this much of the day. It's a nice day. The wind, has been reported as calm. It still is. 56 is your temperature. You'll be up into the 60s today. Beautiful, comfortable day in Portland. Clearly, we're going to, because it is clear, we're going to get more sun today than we've seen the last couple of days. That alone will help nudge us up a little bit. Yesterday, 78. Right now, 63. I have a 73 at noon, and then there's the high, getting up to about 81 degrees this afternoon. Still a day where nobody hits 90 degrees out east, so by your standards, 86, 87, 85, really comfortable stuff. Beautiful sunny day in Bend, 83. Sun River, 79, maybe 80 for a high. The Dow's light winds this morning, you'll be in the mid-80s. There is some cloudiness that might increase or thicken later today, especially north coast and maybe near to north of Portland. We'll see. This shows Kelso 77 at 5 o'clock, but low 80s down into the valley. And here's our 7-day. We've now highlighted in red growing confidence of a heat wave for this weekend. So 81 today, 83 tomorrow. Thursday's the day we start to turn up the heat jets to 88. 98, maybe 100 on Friday, same on Saturday, and at least well up into the 90s on Sunday. So plan your weekend accordingly. Of course, early Friday morning, the first wave of runners will leave Timberline Lodge for this year's Hood to Coast Relay, Chris.
And that means a lot of them, thousands of them will be running through downtown Portland during the heat of the afternoon. So something, a developing story for sure as far as that's concerned. Let's pick it up on the west side. Just get a word of a possible fire response on Southwest Dartmouth near 72nd Avenue. I'm showing you this ODOT camera because literally within the last 5 minutes or so, we had a smoke plume here, and it looks like that has diminished. So maybe a sign that firefighters have got a handle on that. The freeway down below is actually in pretty good shape right now. As far as the fire is concerned, we're working to get more details on that. Back to the freeway drive. This is a problem. I-5 south of town, the southbound left lane still blocked down near McAdam, and that is having a ripple effect across the system as it's also backing up the inbound Banfield. So right now, westbound I-84, a solid 30 of this 34 minutes, guys. That's just inside of the Gateway District to get you to the I-5 split. We'll keep you posted.
Thank you, Chris. A grand jury has indicted a man on new charges in connection with the kidnapping in Salem. 48-year-old Elijah Arce is facing an additional kidnapping charge along with attempted rape. Investigators say he lured an 11-year-old from her front yard earlier this month. Authorities found the pair less than a quarter-mile away with the girl physically unharmed. Arce is being held without bail and is scheduled to be back in court next week.
The driver accused in a deadly crash that killed a Southern Oregon softball team's coach and one of its players pleaded guilty to unspecified charges. We know Jonathan Dowdy is facing a slew of charges, including 2 counts of manslaughter and assault. It was back in April that authorities say he was driving with a suspended license when he drove head-on into a bus carrying the Umpqua Community College softball team on Highway 42. 45-year-old Jamie Strins and 19-year-old Kylie Jones died. Dowdy's sentencing is set for next month.
Portland Fire and Rescue officially have a new chief. Chief Lauren Johnson was formerly the assistant chief in Dallas, Texas, and a career firefighter.
I'll tell you, the thing that hooked me for Portland was one of their current chiefs made a post on LinkedIn that said they were looking for a fire chief, and they've got great people. And my first thought was, I want to work there.
Johnson says her first priority is building trust with the nearly 750 fire personnel she'll now oversee.
Don't be a dumb girl. That's what I was repeatedly told by my dad, my brothers, and even my mom.
That's the voice of Heidi Human, and you see her right there on your screen. She's a local gun violence prevention advocate, a documentary filmmaker, and an author, talking about her new memoir called Dumb Girl, a journey from childhood abuse to gun control advocacy. Human says she dealt with physical, emotional, and sexual abuse growing up. Now, she's opening up about it.
I think it's important to talk about it because that's what breaks the shame, and that's what breaks the cycle. When we live in shame, then we can't prosper and we can't thrive. And so we've got to talk about it.
We'll have more coverage of Heidi's story next month in our Talk About It series. First up, though, an event tonight. KGW evening anchor David Malko will moderate an in-person conversation with Heidi at her book launch. It's happening at 7 o'clock at Powell's West Burnside location.
Going back to school usually means less screen time for students, but since iPads and computers are such a big part of school and homework these days, that's no longer the case. Verifies Megan Bragg has more on how much screen time is too much.
Your kids will likely be spending more time on their iPads and laptops working on homework projects and school assignments. But how much screen time is too much screen time? Let's verify. Our sources, the Mayo Clinic, Dr. Gina Robinson with the Cleveland Clinic, and the American Academy of Pediatrics. Robinson says it is important to set a screen time limit for your kids, especially during the school year.
2 hours of recreational screen time is what we like to aim for. That is more realistic in some households than others, but we really try to at least set some kind of limits beforehand.
A study from the Mayo Clinic shows too much screen time and regular exposure to poor quality programming has been linked to obesity, inadequate sleep schedules and insufficient sleep, behavior problems, delays in language and social skills development, and violence. If you've been more relaxed with screen time over the summer, Robinson says it's a good idea to have a conversation about it now instead of waiting later into the school year. She says instead of taking away all recreational screen time, try turning it into a family activity.
Making it special so that maybe you watch movies together on Friday nights and that's how you use your screen time, and you maybe go outside and set up a projector screen, or you get popcorn, or you do something just to make it a little bit more special and a little bit more of a family activity.
Now, Robinson says if you want your kids off their phones and tablets, you need to lead by example. So make sure you're taking breaks from your phone as well. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
Also want to remind you there's 10 days left to give to this year's KGW School Supply Drive. Some of the most needed supplies are the basic ones. We're talking pencils, paper, crayons, markers, glue sticks. You can drop off all supplies at any On Point Community Credit Union branch, any Rick's Custom Fencing location, or any one of our other community partners like our friends at Rose City Physical Therapy. We appreciate them stepping up for this year's drive. Also this week, Windermere Real Estate is matching the first $5,000 donated to the school supply drive, so we thank them. And we also give one more big shout out this morning to Rick's Custom Fencing, On Point Community Credit Union, and Safeway for everything they're doing to make this year's drive a success. Next story this morning deals with Highway 26 and that drive to the coast that features a rough driving spot that has simply become known as
the bump.
But construction, I should tell you, started yesterday to fix
the bump. And ODOT crews will be out fixing
the bump
from 6 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Mondays through Thursdays. KGW's Catherine Cook brings us more.
No one loves road work. However, this repair job over on Highway 26 near Seaside just might be the exception.
yeah, you need to go slower than 25.
Drivers likely relieved to see ODOT crews finally fixing the bump, as they've dubbed it. But let's be real.
Basically, it's like a Dukes of Hazzard launch,
right? It was, yes. There were a lot of people reporting that they caught air.
ODOT's Mindy McCart gets it. This spot on milepost 13 is bad and blamed for several car crashes. The reason? Transportation officials say years of water buildup in the soil, causing what they call an upside down slide.
So instead of the typical sinking, the pavement is actually being pushed upwards by all of the groundwater pressure.
Back in March, the road got so bad, ODOT had to remove 100 feet of asphalt across all 4 lanes. They covered it in gravel and lowered the speed limit to 25 miles an hour, just one of several temporary fixes. ODOT hopes this will be a permanent solution. They started the month-long repair job on Monday.
So we are going to be installing 9 different perforated drain pipes under all 4 lanes, plus digging new roadside ditches. And this is to drain that groundwater away from the road. Then we'll repave and stripe and get drivers a smoother, safer ride.
For now, there will be flaggers, cones, and equipment moving in and out of the work zone, and traffic down to 1 lane in each direction, Monday through Thursday.
The biggest help that drivers can do right now for us is slow down.
Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Let's send it over to Chris McGinnis now. Chris, I know you're well aware of the bump. In fact, you got it behind you there.
Yeah, we do. You know, and you might be wondering why are they choosing now? In another email from ODOT, they said, hey, look, some of this weather or some of this road work is actually weather dependent. So they got to do it in dry weather. And it turns out that this is also one of the most heavily traveled times of the year through the North Oregon Coast Range. Upwards of 15,000 cars and trucks a day use that stretch of Highway 26. So as Catherine mentioned, heavy delays on the Monday through Thursday commute. They will take a break during weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. All right, back to the freeway drive. I-5 south of town. A wreck still has the left lane blocked just south of the Markham Bridge, and that has traffic pretty well tied up across the south. Well, you can't see it from this perspective because that's a different ramp. Let me give you a different view here as we go out towards the Banfield. It's having a ripple effect on I-84 as well. An earlier crash on the inbound Banfield just cleared, but the drive is really, really slow right now. 84 westbound to I-5 south is definitely taking folks an extra 25 minutes just to navigate that little portion of Portland Freeway. We will keep you posted.
Even though the weather can be nice at the coast, it can still have dangerous surf and rip current conditions from a hurricane that's well offshore.
Dangerous rip currents and high surf as Hurricane Erin makes its way north up the Atlantic. Still ahead here on Sunrise, why some residents in the Carolinas say they're staying put even though they've been told to evacuate.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yeah.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
As Hurricane Erin nears North Carolina's Outer Banks, it's threatening to whip up wild waves and tropical force winds. Although the monster storm is expected to stay offshore, evacuations were ordered on barrier islands along the coast.
NBC's Erin Gilchrist has the latest for us after talking to people who live in North Carolina.
Hurricane Erin barreling through the Atlantic, causing flash flooding in Puerto Rico, sweeping through the Virgin Islands and the Turks and Caicos Islands. The hurricane, now a strong Cat 4, is expected to stay well off the North Carolina coast, but it's already triggering mandatory evacuations along the Outer Banks, where waves could reach 20 feet.
Those breaking waves will push water up into communities and potentially do structural damage along our vulnerable dune front.
With parts of the only highway connecting these islands expected to become impassable in the coming days, visitors and residents on Hatteras and Ocracoke Islands being told to leave. But some locals say they're hunkering down.
We've been through it many times, and we're accustomed to the roads flooding. And the old timers here, feel like this is not going to be the big one.
The eastern seaboard from Florida to Massachusetts now at risk for coastal flooding and life-threatening rip currents. One beach in North Carolina seeing at least 60 rip current rescues just today.
Even though the weather can be nice at the coast, it can still have dangerous surf and rip current conditions from a hurricane that's well offshore.
In the Virgin Islands, 2 scuba divers had to be rescued over the weekend after being swept away from their boat. This Boy Scout troop from Wisconsin stranded in St. Thomas after the hurricane cut their sailing trip short.
Well, the storm arrived and all planes became grounded.
It was mainly just, hunkering down and staying in place.
All this as the East Coast braces for a powerful hurricane churning in the Atlantic. Erin Gilchrist, NBC News, Rodanthe, North Carolina.
And you've even got some updates, Rod, since that report was issued.
Yeah, one of them is, when we talked yesterday, this track was nearing 400 miles offshore. The track is now closed in within 200 miles offshore, which, as that report does say, puts it in the path of tropical force winds being expected along parts of the mid-Atlantic. And by tropical force winds, we mean sustained winds 39, 40 miles per hour. Here's the storm right now, still a ways away from the U.S. mainland. They're the southern islands here are what they call the Turks and Caicos Islands. You get up north of these islands, and then you get into the country of the Bahamas. So that's what we're looking at. The movement is still going to take this thing up to the north. The report, a lot of these reports aren't live, so they're recorded a little bit earlier before we actually play them on the air. And instead it was a Category 4 storm. It's now weakened to a Category 2, sustaining winds at 105. But it's going to continue to wobble a little bit in terms of strengthening and then weakening and strengthening and weakening. So here it is, Category 2 storm, and then eventually it turns well up into cold Atlantic waters. The path within 200 miles of the Outer Banks of North Carolina right here. This will be Thursday morning. Tropical force winds, again, sustained winds approaching around 40 miles per hour. Dangerous to deadly surf conditions and probably some beach erosion and that type of thing. Again, a reminder that when you're on what we call the backside of the hurricane, in this case, the west side of the storm, you don't get near the impact that you would get if you're on the front side. The island of Bermuda, I'm sure, watching this very carefully because they will be on that dangerous front or east side of this large hurricane. All right, our local weather, we are looking fantastic. We've got mainly clear skies across Oregon, except for partly sunny conditions along the coast early this morning. This cloud band is the only thing I'm watching. It's not really doing anything. It will produce, or is producing, thicker cloud cover this morning around western Washington. And this might just drag in to bring some increasing cloudiness during the day to Astoria and Long Beach, and maybe even at times into Kelso Longview, where you folks up in Calhoun County are just flat out sunny right now. Partly sunny skies, nice bright picture really from Chinook Winds Casino Resort in Lincoln City, 57 degrees. There's what I call the barn shot, pretty country vineyard shot there from the Salem tasting room in Sherwood. What'd you hear, Drew? Oh, barn 61 is the number there. And there's our Rose City camera, the Moda Center, 63. We have no wind to speak of this morning. So your weather is great today. It's going to stay comfortable all areas as you look at current temperatures, mostly in the 60s and some 50s still showing up here in the 8 o'clock hour. Coast forecast, kind of a partly sunny to maybe clouding over, eventually up around Astoria, otherwise really nice. Upper 60s to maybe reaching 70 in some spots. Valley forecast numbers just comfortably up into the low 80s in Salem. Kelso, Longview, maybe you cloud over at some point this afternoon. Otherwise, this is a mostly sunny to partly sunny day, reaching 80. I've got Portland 81, 83, 88 tomorrow. And then we heat up. We've got the heat wave in red for the impact alert nearing 100 on Friday and Saturday. It is birthday time. Okay, we're going to look at a young man that likes to play soccer. There's Benjamin from Dallas, 10 years old today. Happy birthday to you. And here's Bianca. Now, this is great. Bianca's 27. She's currently in medical school in St. Louis. And her mom adds that they're going to send a recording of today's show to her because guess what? This is the 27th time that we've had Bianca on our birthday segment. How about that? Yeah. We're going to 100. Let's keep it going. All right. Also celebrating a birthday today is Erin, who is 40 years young. Happy birthday to you. Great shot of relaxation with the dog on the couch. And then Kaiser, there's Deborah, 60 today. Happy birthday to you. Hope you have a great day. Birthday's at KGW.com. We'll celebrate with you. Here is Chris.
Rod, thank you for that. The biggest traffic trouble spot right now is this. I-5 south of town. Looks like they've got a tow truck on the scene of that earlier crash near or just south of the Markham Bridge. I'll zoom in real quick. This is having kind of a ripple effect across the freeway system right now as that left lane has been blocked for the better part of an hour, and it's got I-84 westbound backed up. Extra so because we had an earlier crash on the Banfield as well. So you put the two together, and your I-84 westbound drive is still a solid half hour plus to get you in from Troutdale. And again, most of that drive time is just inside of 205. I-5 has cleared out in Clark County. You hit the lineup right around Columbia Boulevard. 25 minutes or so gets you from bridge to bridge, from the interstate to the Fremont. We'll be right back.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
In our top stories this morning, President Donald Trump is promising to end vote by mail, calling it fraudulent and slow. But here in the Northwest, where most people vote by mail, local leaders insist it's safe, secure, and less costly. Oregon Secretary of State Tobias Reed told us that Trump's claims are false and that states have jurisdiction over elections, not a federal government. The off-duty Alaska Airlines pilot accused of trying to cut a plane's engine mid-flight has agreed to a plea deal. Court records indicate that Joseph Emerson, who is facing federal charges, will appear for a change of plea hearing in Portland early next month. Lawyers say Emerson's alleged actions, which forced a flight heading from Everett to San Francisco to make an emergency landing in Portland, stemmed from taking psychedelic mushrooms. And Oregon Senator Ron Wyden visited Crater Lake this past weekend to see how funding cuts have impacted Oregon's only national park. The Trump administration eliminated thousands of Park Service jobs across the country earlier this year. Senator Wyden says that he's working on strategies to support the park's current staff and to keep the visitor experience strong.
And our 7-day forecast starts off blue, then turns red. 81 today, really nice. 83 tomorrow, really nice. Thursday we start to heat up, and our next heat wave could be as hot, if not hotter, than the last one. Right now I've got 98 to nearing 100 in Portland on Friday, Saturday, and still well up into the 90s on Sunday.
Okay, so how about some good news then? Out of Clark County, your I-5 southbound drive, the end of the line has cleared the Interstate Bridge, it's cleared the Expo Center, but it does get a little slow once you get south of there. 25 minutes still the drive time from Main Street. Quick look at south of town, that earlier crash on I-5 near McAdam finally out of the way, and all the drivers stuck in the backup on I-84 are saying, yes! Finally, it's still pretty slow. 35 minutes the drive in from Troutdale.
All right, guys, we're going to end this morning's newscast with some potatoes because today is apparently National Potato Day. Now, don't laugh, Rob.
Where are French fries?
I'm going to hit you with some crazy potato facts. You ready for this?
Yes.
Number one, the International Potato Center says there are 4,000 varieties of potatoes.
I find that hard to believe.
Well, it's true, Rod. We wouldn't put it on the news if it wasn't true. You can bake them, you can fry them, you can mash them, you can smash them, right? You can do everything with the potato. Health benefits include vitamin C, loaded with vitamin C, loaded with potassium.
Wow.
There's no fat in your potato. There's no cholesterol. And here's the craziest fact of all. I didn't realize this, but looking back at our website, Christine Pitawanich did a segment back in April. You know, she does the Fresh from Oregon series.
Yeah.
She did one on potatoes.
Yeah.
Did you know that it's the most grown vegetable in the state of Oregon? The potato is. Oh, you knew that?
Yeah.
Because she watched the story.
Okay. Hold on. What else can I give China that she doesn't know?
She's not
that's it.
Did you know when you put butter on your potato, it increases the fat content? Did you know that?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But it tastes better.
Duh.
You know, there actually was a lot to that
Chives.
story once you start to peel it back.
Some cheese.
Oh.
Baked potatoes, anyone?
How about the Wednesday edition of Sunrise? How about we give you that tomorrow? Hope to see you here.